This is lesson 44 for Saxon 4, multiplying two-digit numbers part 1. This is the books part 1, not me breaking a lesson into 2, so this is the full lesson. All right, so when we're looking at multiplying two digits by one digit, you are looking at something like this. So we have 20 multiplied by 3 or times 3, okay? Now, you have to remember, again, columns. This is the ones column and the tens column. So when we do this, I will talk about it in a certain way, but you have to remember what's actually happening. So first thing you do is you times one column. Okay, so we're going to times 3 and 0. So you are doing 3 times 0. Okay, 3 times 0 is 0 because anything times 0 is 0. Next one we're doing is we're doing 3 times 20, not 3 times 2. Okay, so you're doing 3 times 20, even though we say 3 times 2. Okay, the reason we say 3 times 2 is because it's easier for us to be able, it's an easier one for us to be able to memorize. It's easier for us to understand. Just like when we're doing addition. And if I was doing addition and I had 23 add 13. Okay, and I say 3 and 3 is 6. And then I say 2 and 1 is 3. It's not actually 2 add 1, it's 20 add 10, like we've talked about before. But instead of saying 20 add 10 makes 30, I say 2 plus 1 because it's easier for us to be able to do the math in our head. So we are doing 3 times 20, but we're going to say 3 times 2. Okay, and when I say that, 3 times 2, a lot of people will get right away 6. So our answer is 60. And if I done it over here, you can actually solve these ones by pretending that 0 is not there for a moment and doing 3 times 2, which is 6, and then adding the 0 in, which is 0, and 60. Okay, so you're going to get the same answer. It's just what you're actually doing versus what we say. Now remember, if at any point you do need help with your times tables that you don't have them memorized, your times tables chart in your planner is a very helpful tool, as well as the times tables charts that I give out in class for you to keep in your desks. Or, seeing as you all have a laptop, as this is online, looking up a times tables chart is also really helpful. I'm going to put mine to the side, and we're going to do another one together. Okay, this time we're going to do 42 times 3. Or 42 multiplied by 3, or 42 groups of 3, or 3 groups of 42. Now, again, we start off with ones, 3 times 2, and then 3 times the tens column, okay? So 3 times 2. 3 times 2 is, we just did it, 6. Okay, we are then going to do the tens column because I can't just do 3 times 2 and leave it. So we're now doing 3 times 4, or 3 times 40. Now, some of you might be confused and saying, hey, wait a minute, you've already filled in the ones column. What if I get something in the ones column over here? Well, the nice thing is you're not going to. Because we're timing by something that ends in a 0, it will end up in a 0 as well. Okay, so no need to worry about that. So even though, again, we are doing 3 times 40. To make it easier on ourselves, we say 3 times 4. Okay, and 3 times 4 is 12. Now notice this went into the hundreds column. That's because when I do 3 times 40, I actually get 120. Okay, because 3 times 4 is 12, put that 0 in that I have at the end of the 40, and I get 120. So 120 plus the 6 we had up here gives you 126. Okay, now all I ask for when you do this in your books is this portion. This is all I need to see, is that you're doing 3 times 2 and 3 times 4 and you're getting the answer. If you need to do this, even just the first couple of times or every time, so that it's easily laid out in your mind what exactly you are doing, that is perfectly okay. But all I require is this, okay? I just want you to understand this is what's actually happening. We're going to do one more together, and then I'm going to let you move on your own. And if you need any more work with these, go into the math methods playlist. There is multiple videos on multiplication that you can take a look at for all different steps. Okay, one more. All right, so the next one we're going to look at is a little bit harder. We're going to look at 12 times 9. Okay, now 12 times 9, yes, you could look in your multiplication chart and do it really simply that way, but we want to know what the steps are. Okay, so just like before, we're going to start with the ones column, and the ones column is 9 times 2. Okay, 9 times 2 is 18. Use your times tables chart if you need it. Now, notice 18 has a 10. This is the ones column right here, ones column, which means we are only putting the 8, and this 10 is getting carried up over here. Okay, this is going to come back in a second. So I have now used this 10. I'm just going to take that away for a second. I have it up over here to remind me. Now I am doing the tens column. So 9 times 10, or 9 times 1. Now remember that 10? That means I have to add that at the end. So once I have 9 times 10, I have to add 10 to it. Or, looking at it over here, 9 times 1 plus 1. Okay, well, 9 times 10 is 90. 9 times 1 is 9. So see, the difference again is this one has a 0, this one doesn't. 9 times 1 is 9, plus 1 is 10. 9 times 10 is 90, plus 10 is 100. And then I would take 8, add 100, and I would get 108. 108. Okay, same things. This is, if you will, the extended version. This is the version that you will most likely use once you have the process down. That is lesson 44 for Saxon 4, multiplying two-digit numbers, part 1.